Good morning. Happy Monday. Hope you had a great weekend. On Friday, we were looking at Hebrews 12:1. I want to look at that passage again for just a second. As you hopefully remember, it was about a race. It was about running. It was about pressing on. And it carried a bit of a punch about the work that we need to be doing. Let me read it. Hebrews chapter 12, verse 1. Therefore, since we also have such a large cloud of witnesses surrounding us, let us lay aside every hindrance and the sin that so easily ensnares us. Let us run with endurance the race that lies before us, keeping our eyes on Jesus, the source and perfecter of our faith. For the joy that lay before him, he endured the cross, despising the shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. So I mentioned this passage last Friday. We looked at a picture of an ancient racetrack and the stands there, the cloud of witnesses looking at the people running the race. And I have made a lot about analogies between running and the Christian life, in part because I have been a runner for 40 years, although I need, my boys tell me, to not use that term because I'm way too slow anymore to call myself a runner. Supposedly you got to be 7 minutes a mile is what I used to say. If you were slower than 7 minutes a mile, you were just jogging. Well, I could only dream of running a 7-minute mile anymore, but I digress. So I have run for 40 years or jogged, whatever. And there's lots of time to think and to process and to pray and to reflect and all of that. And there's a lot of passages about running in the Bible. So 1 Corinthians 9:26. Do you not know that all the runners run, but only one receives a prize? Run in such a way that you will win. Or this Hebrews 12 passage, or the Philippians 3:13 passage. Forgetting what lies behind, straining forward to what lies ahead, I press on towards the goal for the prize of the higher calling of God in Christ Jesus. And then in 2 Timothy, Paul talks about, I've fought the good fight, I've finished the race. So lots of examples of this. And so in light of that, I want to say three things today by way of challenge. First of all, I want to encourage you to think about memorizing one of these passages. The 1 Corinthians 9:26, Hebrews 12:1, Philippians 3:13. Now, I very much want you to be grounded in grace. And so I don't want you to adopt some sort of anxiety-producing works righteousness kind of mindset that, I've got to do this. I've got to run the race. I've got to push on harder. I've got to, in order for God to love me, in order for me to be right with him, saved, forgiven. That's not the Christian life, right? I want you to rest secure in the love of God and the grace that comes through the finished work of Christ. But the other side of the coin, and that's the challenge of communicating the gospel, the other side of the coin is that if we are saved, then we ought to be changing. And it does look sometimes like work, like running, like putting one foot ahead of the other, like continuing to exert ourselves. And we get that in these passages. The second thing is I want to encourage you to consider reading biographies of great women and men of faith, or just great biographies of great people who have accomplished a lot, because it reminds us of what is doable. And we can get a lot out of that kind of reading as opposed to another hour of TV. Finally, I just want to say, I want you to reflect on what is perhaps slowing you down. That's the idea here. He wants us to consider what is encumbering us. So that could be sin, but that's not the word that he uses. So the suggestion is that we might be held back by other things as well. So we'll move on tomorrow, but I want you to consider memorizing a passage to help you find some ongoing verve to press on towards a whole sanctification process, finishing, pressing ahead, ending well. The Christian life, it's not about how we start, it's about how we end. So remember, you are in a race. Have a good day.